Welcome to Sips and Tips, mini episodes of the Leaderish podcast. Listen in as Dr. Jen and Regina bring you a little inspiration to move you through your week a little more inspired.
Hey, Regina. How's it going?
Hey, Jen. It's going really well.
Is it because we're doing our first episode of Sips and Tips?
Yes, I believe that it is. We've had a lot of folks ask for more content from us. So we have decided that we did have the bandwidth to do minisodes. So these aren't our full length episodes, but they are episodes that gear around some sort of inspiration for you.
And I'm really excited about it because I think it's just going to be fun.
Yeah, I do too. Do you want me to tell you our first quote for our first Sips and Tips?
Please do.
All right. It's a quote by Eleanor Roosevelt. It's "The future belongs to those who believe in the beauty of their dreams."
I love that. I think it's beautiful. It's also from the book She Inspires that we talked about on one of our last episodes.
Because you purchased it for me as a gift and you sent it to me with a beautiful inscription. You'll have to check out episode 5, I think, to get the inscription if you don't know what we're talking about.
Exactly. And I bought myself one as well, but I did not write myself an inscription. Maybe I should.
You know what? Next time I just surprise you at your house, I am going to write you an inscription.
I love
in
that.
the book that you bought yourself.
I think that's perfect.
Yeah, I'm going to do that.
So let's talk about this quote.
Yeah. Okay. So I want to go back and I want to share a little bit about the intensive Google research I did on Eleanor Roosevelt, which I already knew a little bit. Google helped me learn a little bit more. The first thing that I found out, though, was this quote is actually attributed to like several different people, and nowhere on the Googles can I find in what speech or when Eleanor said this or where she wrote it.
Well, if the interwebs can't help you with that, then no one can.
I know.
So if there's anyone out there that knows when and where Eleanor, good old Eleanor, said this, we would love it because it's a really beautiful quote.
Yeah. And, if you think about Eleanor, she was living during the Great Depression. She was First Lady, World War II. So if you can only imagine the state of her kind of, I guess, the second half of her life, the first half was rather charmed, actually. She grew up as a Roosevelt, very wealthy. Great Depression hits. She marries her fifth cousin. She encourages him to run for office. He runs for office, a mayor, and then eventually president, as you know.
Actually didn't know that she was a Roosevelt before she was married.
Yeah, she was a Roosevelt before she was a Roosevelt. She married her fifth cousin.
Good to know.
I know. Those things weren't so frowned upon back then, I guess.
True.
So a few interesting things about Eleanor that really kind of helped resonate to this quote. I'm going to read it again. "The future belongs to those who believe in the beauty of their dreams." Eleanor was passionate about women's rights. And so a few things, when Eleanor was First Lady, she actually had a female press corps, and she would invite only women into her all-women press corps, and she would give them nuggets of information that no one else gave all the men. She is attributed with keeping female reporters going.
Wow, that's incredible.
I mean, talk about linking arms and women supporting women, right? Like, isn't that beautiful?
It is.
She was also a champion for civil rights, as I think many of you know. There's a story of her at a conference, and I'm sorry, I'm not thinking about the conference or what the name was, but it was a conference that was segregated. And so Black people sat on one side of the room and white people sat on the other side of the room. And she made it a point to ask for her own chair, and she put it square in the middle.
Oh, I love that about her.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So she was standing up for civil rights quite early. Also, another interesting thing about the Great Depression, you probably know a lot of women went into the workforce.
Yep.
During the Great Depression. Yeah. She helped ensure that women got good jobs. Women were actually relegated to women's work, which was sewing, typing, writing. She advocated for women to be able to do higher paying jobs. They were all very low paying jobs. Here's another interesting thing about that. This one kind of turned backwards on her. Eleanor Roosevelt was a huge proponent for women in office, women in government, women working,
Amazing.
period. So she worked with her husband to get Frances Perkins, a female, appointed to the Secretary of Labor job.
The
That
first
sounds,
woman.
she's first woman. That sounds like really, really cool. You think that the first woman in a Secretary of Labor role is going to do a great thing for women in labor?
Yeah.
Actually backfired.
Oh, no.
What Frances Perkins did was she signed a bill or offered a bill into law. I'm not one for civics. She offered a bill into law that said if a husband and wife both work for the government, the wife would be terminated because the wife could not work if the man was working. And they could only do that in government because they didn't know anywhere else. So, yeah.
That's crazy. So the first woman first woman in government,
In a high level government position that wasn't a typist,
her first act or an act was
to fire women.
yes. Yes. What? So funny story about Frances as well. And I think this is accurate. So if you are a fan of the movie Dirty Dancing,
Yes.
baby.
Nobody puts baby in a corner.
Exactly. If you remember, her name was Frances for the first woman in the cabinet. Now we know. It was Frances Perkins.
It was Frances Perkins.
Now we know.
Ah, Jen, that was amazing. But this is really about Eleanor. And Eleanor was such a champion for others. And she did so many amazing things. I've just given you a few tidbits that I learned about her. This quote, though, just so embodies what she was trying to do to help us all understand that there is a future when times are bleak. There is a future to those who believe in the beauty of their dreams. Don't give up on your dreams.
I think I love that because when we first saw this quote in the book and we first talked about like, oh, what time period did she live? Mm-hmm. And when you talk about the Great Depression, my first thought was actually not knowing a lot about her, to be quite honest. My first thought was, oh, well, that's kind of a very privileged approach on life for all the other people that are struggling in the Great Depression. If I was struggling, like the pandemic, whatever, other times that are hard, like that quote might actually be kind of insulting. But what I didn't realize is that it was so important for her to believe that, to do the things that she did for women during that time period.
Completely agree.
I love that. And now I understand the quote so much better.
I know. Isn't that cool? So now what I will say is get out there and believe in the beauty of your dreams.